I'm going to hand over to James Heather. He's going to make the main presentation, but the rest of the project team are here and we'll be able to answer questions or pop up and give other ideas as and when they arrive. So, thanks, James.
Hello, can everybody hear me? I don't have any microphones, so all okay? Well, I just want to welcome you all here today to Ham. I imagine many of you are local residents, but some of you will have travelled from elsewhere in the borough or further away. So anyone interested in hydropower. And I'm going to talk to you today about our project to develop hydropower here in the borough of Richmond, and specifically on Teddington Weir. So, who are we? Well, Ham Hydro is a community interest company, and we were created by Ham United Group, which if you live locally, I hope that you have heard of, but if not, we are a local community group and it takes a whole range of projects. And we're looking to make this a reality right here in the borough. We want to be a very local company, taking consideration of all the people in the borough, specifically in Ham and Teddington on the other side of the river. And also, we think that there's a lot of issues in the world where renewable energy will help us tackle them. Climate change, we've got issues with oil prices, all the different things. We come to this, it's all here, we can't answer any questions at all, but this seems to be a local way forward. We want to make sure that as a local company, that the local community owns the project, and we want to make sure that all of the benefits are retained by the community. We don't want to see it disappearing out of the borough. Key things about where we start. Now, why a CIC? CIC is a community interest company. What we needed to do when we formed is we wanted to have a corporate setup which enabled us to act like any major company, but also to retain things locally. So, a community interest company, very similar to a limited company, but it has a few special things about it. CIC regulator, crucially, which is the body which can ensure that we act according to our Articles of Association, which include the fact that we have an asset loss, so all of our money goes to there. We can't simply decide, oh, we're going to take the rest of those money and take it all out, profits out. Not possible. If we decide to do that, the regulator will shut us down. It's transparent. You can come in and see what we're doing. Provide legal protection to stop that. We can't simply take all the profits. But yeah, we can't have specified community benefit. Ours is, of course, that we are setting up a community fund and the money will be going back to the community. That's the reason we chose the CIC. Let's talk a little bit about where we started and how we got to where we are. A lot of people walk over the footbridge to Teddington Weir, and a lot of people look at the weir. And they see the weir and they think, oh, very beautiful. A lot of those people will also think, that's an awful lot of power going over that weir. Why isn't it being used? Now, fortunately, one of those people happened to do something about it. It was in 2006, though, it took quite a while. Started talking to the Environment Agency, it was just an idea, so things happened slowly. Over time, what happened is that we started to say, okay, let's get serious about this, let's put a group of people together who are all keen on doing the same thing. It was our steering group, and it was still part of Ham United Group. They said, okay, who do we need to have to make this happen? We need to have someone to project manage it. We need to have someone who understands about the environment. We need to have someone who understands about the technical side of the project. Someone who understands the legal aspects of the project. Who understands corporate structure and things like the CIC. I'd never heard of that before then. I wouldn't have known what to do. I just have set up a limited company. So all these people came together and started sitting down and saying, how are we going to do it? The Environment Agency said, a feasibility study was completed. It showed that it was a viable project. It could actually happen. It could make some money. It could work. And then we said, okay, let's form a company and do this. That was, of course, in responding to what was an expression of interest put out by the Environment Agency, to which any developer around the country could apply. Fortunately, in August 2010, we were shortlisted by the Environment Agency. We had the support of our local MPs, the council, various different bodies that helped us get through this process. And we do have to work as a result of our selection that came in 2011, where we kind of specifically bring forward with Morrison Construction, a big national contractor. That gives a lot of reassurances to the public as well, because having a big contractor like that, number one, you know that the scheme will actually get built. And number two, they've got all sorts of things that they can do to make sure that they don't disrupt the public. This is not just a new thing for them, it's a big project that's out of their depth. They're doing lots of large work, often on the river, often for the Environment Agency. They know what they're doing. Now, if you read anything about it or just looked around your company, you'll understand that we're going to use something called an Archimedes screw. Archimedes screws have been around for a very long time. But obviously, they have not been used for hydropower particularly before. What they were used is as a pump. Especially turning the screw has been used to lift water out of wells. Now, in more recent times, we incorporate them into sewage work as the main place where they're often used, but the main principle is lifting water. Someone realized that quite simply by reversing the screw, reverse engineering as they call it, and allowing the water to flow down the screw, the water is actually turning the screw rather than the screw turning the water. Very, very simple. As the water comes up to a weir, if you're going to put it in a weir, the water falls over the weir, down through the screw, turning the screw. The turning of the screw simply turns a generator, a turbine, we just generate electricity. It's very similar to anything. It's the same as you imagine Trevor Bayless's wind-up clock radio. You're winding it by hand, you're turning something, and you can generate power. It's extremely simple technology. Now, you can use it anywhere, but if you put it on a weir, you've got, of course, the flow of the river coming down, so it's quite a lot of force, and you've got the natural drop that you're coming down the weir. So it enables it to be very efficient. Now, the project is quite a large project, actually, on the scale of projects like this. It's a new thing to be developing hydropower and weir, particularly in the UK, although there are some examples in France, Germany, and across Europe. Hydro is an exclusive right from the Environment Agency who owns the weir to develop it at this particular site, although there are now other projects that are up in the running around the country. But this is one of the first to in the Southeast, and certainly one of the first of this size. Talking about size, you'll be generating approximately 1.9 gigawatts hours per annum. Now, I wouldn't know what that meant, but I didn't expect to have you do what that, we'll have a look at that. So we take all that power, and we're going to feed it into the national grid. We'll sell that power, and then take the profit from that power, and put it back into the community. Now, when you sell the electricity, you're going to get money simply for selling it, because you generate electricity, you sell it, somebody buys it. But what really makes this project viable is something called the feed-in tariff. Feed-in tariff is set up by the government, although money does not come from the government, and it is a guaranteed index-linked payment, and it lasts for 20 years from when you sign up for the scheme. This allows, on top of selling the electricity, that you get what appears to be subsidy in order to help boost people coming in to develop renewable energy. The money actually comes from utility companies and power companies, and they feed the money in, but the government requires them to do this. So it is a government scheme. What are the benefits? Well, we've got this down into two types. We've got the municipal benefits. To keep coming back to community benefits, it has a community ownership possibility. We're looking at the option of people buying shares in the company. Usually, as we are going to dedicate all the profits back into the community, it virtually makes the community owned anyway, but to give a real sense of community ownership, we'll be providing members of the community to actually purchase into the company. If you do that, you will get a return on your investment from that. We then will take all of the money out of the project, which isn't being used obviously for debt repayments or so forth, but once that gets cleared, it will be 100% of the profit, or 100% of the money, I should say. We'll then be coming back into the community fund that we will set up. That fund will not be managed by myself or anyone in Hydro, it'll be independently managed to determine who can use that money. The idea is, though, that that money will have to be used for community benefit schemes, and it will have to have something to do with low carbon. It will have to be something to do with carbon reduction, renewable energy, environment, sustainability, just something with a spectrum of things that's specifically benefiting the community. Right. I put up there, we have 20,000 pounds and rising to much more debt repayment. Quite simply, we're talking quite a lot of money. At the beginning, we have to prioritize it. But very high up on the priority is paying off the money, because we're paying interest on any loans that we take out. So it'd be foolish to be continually paying interest over a long period of time. But once that gets paid off, all the money will be coming back, and we'll be talking significant money into the community. There's also a carbon saving aspect of it. We're looking at about £6,000 per annum, and we're generating a significant source of green renewable energy. We talk on here saying over 600 homes or houses. I find this is a very subjective amount of homes, because of course, how much I use in my home is different from how much someone else would use in their home. We've taken information from the Office of National Statistics to get this, calculation, but we are saying looking at which one and secondary school energy consumption, and these are actual factual figures because you can get the information from last year and the year before and see what they've used. Grade Book School, for example, we got the information there. And we can calculate that you could supply 80% of all the secondary schools in the borough for what they require. That is, of course, actually on their current consumption. We believe, since it's quite a new thing to take energy consumption into consideration, that they're reasonably wasteful. So by installing energy-saving measures, the council is looking quite heavily, and we're coming in to look at this and say, if you can reduce the amount of energy the school is using, then actually we could potentially bring that margin up and closer to, or even up to 100% secondary schools. Tangible benefit. This is something that I think is extremely important, but it is a bit hard to quantify exactly how much benefit there is. But I definitely believe there is one. And that is about the general awareness of what we are doing. It's about the awareness of sustainability. It's about how it impacts on your life at home. It's about what you do in your house. It's about how you drive a car. It's everything that you actually do. And you tend to go through life every day. You don't necessarily think about these things. Some groups of people do, but a lot of people don't. I think about having a big project like this that's in the public eye, that's in the press, that you walk by and you see it as you walk over the weir, will help focus you on this. Now, we've got educational benefits. All the schools are interested in the project. There's school projects they can do. People are talking about setting up their A-level course correct on it. You've already had university students doing their studies on it to work out how much impact it has, how beneficial it is, how much it can work. There's all these different universities, Kingston University, Mary's University is interested, very cool school, it comes to education in a minute, but that is something where you're getting to the people, the younger generation. There's no point us making a big change and the next generation coming up and not seeing it. We've got to get to the schools and let people actually learn about just general sustainability and start making changes in the way they live. The study here is of an info point. It's actually quite a unique one. It's a new design. It has solar panels installed on the back, but they're very special time to actually fit straight into the structure, into the actual info point itself, which will power it. And it has information about what's going on, and it will be linked directly and wirelessly to the generator, so it will see how much is being generated, give you real-time information about what is happening. That information is also likely to be sent to various local schools that want to set this up in their reception areas in the hall or wherever. This starts to get so much schools and education, so I'm going to hand the next slide, that hold back a bit. We talk about doing sustainability workshops in the school and already set up something like this, putting into practice, reducing the energy wastage. Talk to St Mary's University off the back of this, they've been looking at various energy saving measures. Kingston University, as I said, they've done an undergraduate project looking at flow data and seeing how it impacts on a hydro project, specifically at Teddington Weir. St Mary's University, they want to put up a big display stand and they're looking at all of their buildings and working out what waste they have, thermal imaging, all the rest of it. Leland House School are being presented to them. They're going to be building a hydro model in tandem with ours, similar to us, looking at how the flow affects the spirit, how they can generate electricity from it. Great Book School has a whole range of ideas that they want to use and see what you can afford today. Now,